Good evening and welcome to our weekly parish news programme. Hopefully you will have already received this week's newsletter and you'll see all the exciting things that are happening in the parish. I'm hoping also since the last broadcast that some of you have picked up that we are now broadcasting live on YouTube as well. Some people have had problems with contacting us on Facebook because Facebook sort of works as a blog process where the latest information goes to the top of the screen, and therefore sometimes our live broadcasts disappear down the screen. YouTube is much easier because we're on a fixed web address and we'll always be in that web address, and when we go live it'll just pop up on the screen. So if you are struggling with Facebook, please do look out for the YouTube address for our future broadcasts. June's parish magazine should be hitting the streets tomorrow. It's almost finished, and hopefully towards the end of the day tomorrow that will also be going out via email to everybody. So if you're not getting the parish emails and you're not getting the parish magazine electronically, please go to our website at www.parishofwhiteregis.org.uk, go down to the bottom left hand side of the screen and you'll see there's a little box there to put in your name and email address and hit submit. You'll automatically get added to our email distribution, and then you'll get our newsletters and emails when they go out. Hot off the press and just decided about half an hour ago, after the success of our VE Day Zoom tea party, we decided on Pentecost Sunday, which is a week tomorrow, at 4 p.m. in the afternoon, we're going to do another Pentecost Sunday Zoom tea party where people from the parish can get together online, see each other and have a chat. So look out for that information. That will come out during the week, and look forward to seeing many of you then and catching up with you all again then. We've got a number of reports this Saturday, and the first one is from Jeff Rivers, and we'll be hearing it in two instalments. The report is about the removal of the pews and the setting up of our new sort of multifunction area at the back of the church at All Saints. So we'll hear the first part of Jeff's report and then we'll catch up with the second part towards the end of our news programme.
Hello, it's Jeff here again. I hope you're all well and surviving another week in lockdown. This week I'm going to tell you a short story concerning two of the pews that we removed from the back of the church back in November, I think it was, 2018. It seems a long time ago now. Anyway, here we go. This is a long story. The Rev Deb had a thought that it may be a good idea to remove the pews at the back of the church to allow more space for teas, coffees, messy church, etc. She'd asked Tony and myself if we could oversee the work. Little did we know the amount of work that was going to be involved with the bureaucracy, the paperwork, and one job would lead into another. As we thought we had solved one problem, another one raised its head. At first sight, the pews looked in good condition, but this was mainly due to the loving care and attention they had received over the years and the amount of polish that had been put upon them. On further inspection, it appeared that it was only the polish that was holding some of them together. Some of the pews not only had woodworm but also dry rot, and this led to further complications when we discovered that the wooden floor that they stood on also had worm. It was with some trepidation that we removed the first floorboard to inspect what was underneath. Luckily, we found that it appeared to be rough concrete that must have been laid in Victorian times, and there was approximately an 18-inch void, so it meant that the whole floor would have to be removed and replaced. But first of all, we had to remove the pews. With removing the pews, it was a case of many hands make light work, but once they had been unscrewed from the floor, they were very, very unstable, and so it was decided that the safest thing to do would be to dismantle them all. And this is what we started to do. The pews didn't come apart easily. They fought us every inch of the way. They were held together with an assortment of Victorian screws and rusty nails. The work could have taken a much shorter time, but of course you do get the odd worker that wants to lie down on the job, don't you? Finally, the pews were removed, the old floor was lifted, and work started on relaying a brand new wooden floor. It was at this point we then received a message from the bell ringers saying if there were 2 pews that were in not too bad a condition, would it be possible to have them placed in the bell ringing room so that they had somewhere to sit down while practicing. Now you have to remember that the pews were about 12 feet long, and the only access to the bell room was up the windy spiral staircase. We thought we wouldn't be able to do it. There was no way to get the pews from ground level up to the bell room. Even if we dismantled the pews, the pieces of wood were still too long to get up the staircase. The only way we could do it, we thought, would be to call in someone like International Rescue, or failing that, the fire brigade.
So that's the first part of Jeff's report this afternoon. We'll catch up with what happened next towards the end of our programme this afternoon. Last week we mentioned that it was Christian Aid Week and how different it has been this year with no envelopes going out through people's doors and no door-to-door collection. A few people have asked that we actually provide the information again how you can support Christian Aid. So I'm going to just run Christian Aid's short advert again for you now.
This Christian Aid Week, we need your help to support people living in poverty around the world who are facing the challenge of coronavirus. Christian Aid is providing vulnerable men, women and children with clean water, vital hand washing training and life-saving food. But we desperately need your help. Please, could you give us just £5 to help us save lives? Please text HELP to 70020 or visit us online to make your donation today.
That was the appeal from Christian Aid last week, and if you struggle to find that information, you can just drop me an email and I will pass it on to you so you can make a donation if you wish. As I know, for many years the church in Wyke and Lanehouse has supported the work of Christian Aid. Whilst mentioning money, I've been asked by a few people this week how we're doing meeting the parish shortfall. You'll know this is something that I've brought up several times since we've been locked down with coronavirus. You'll remember that the shortfall is about £600 a week due to the fact that we're not taking collections, we're getting no funeral and wedding fees. Well, the good news is that we're starting to close the gap, and since the start of May we've collected in an extra £1,400, which is absolutely fantastic. And that goes a long way towards our monthly gap of £2,600, which is our £600 a week. So we still do have a little gap to close of £1,200 by the end of the month. But we are very, very grateful for every single person who has helped in whatever way they've helped, whether it's a small donation or a large donation. We're very, very grateful. This week, however, I'd like to make a particular appeal to the St Edmunds congregation and to the people of the Lanehouse area to think about their church, because we've not had too many donations in through the parish system for St Edmunds. So if you feel that you can help St Edmunds Church and the work of St Edmunds, either please contact Julie, the treasurer, or if you're unable to contact Julie, you can go to the parish website. You can make a donation online. Just make sure that you put St Edmunds Church in the donation field, or you can ring me and I can take a donation over the phone from your card, and I can make sure that is passed straight back into the St Edmunds Church account, and I'm sure they'll be very, very pleased of your support. We're now going to hear an update from Janet Hall on how our Sewing Together Whilst Apart project is progressing, which many parishioners have been involved in.
I thought it might be nice to have a little check-up on how the squares were going for the Sewing Together While Apart project. So here we are. That wasn't shown there, please let me know and send a picture. If you're able to get out, they could be dropped into my home at 11 Kempston Road. If not, keep them safe. We'll get in touch later. Thank you. Bye. I thought it might be nice to have a little check-up on how the squares were going for the Sewing Together While Apart.
Oh, there we go. Sorry about that. The problem is when running the studio on your own, you press the wrong button at the wrong time and something else happens. There's lots of buttons to press here. So thank you, Janet, for that report, and thank you to all of those people who are doing the squares, and thanks for the nice jolly music as well. I had to sit back in my chair after that to calm down again. This week we've been working on the Sunday service. I'm trying again to pick appropriate choral music. This week it was decided that we should have, as part of our choral music, Look at the World, composed by John Rutter, which some of you will be familiar with. A search of the internet discovered a very high quality video recording by somebody called Mark Manring of a choir from North Carolina in the USA. Mark has some really high quality video of choirs and concerts, so firstly I got into contact with Mark to ask for permission to use his video, which he willingly gave. Mark then put me in touch with Jeremy Tucker, the artistic director and conductor of the Rayleigh Boy Choir from North Carolina, who were the choir in the video. James also came back very quickly to say they were more than happy for us to use the video. The Rayleigh Boy Choir is a non-profit organisation that educates and trains boys in the art of singing. Their participants learn to perform some of the world's most diverse choral music, and I note from their website that they have over the years sung in Ireland, Germany and London, as well as all over the United States. So we're very pleased that they will be part of our service tomorrow. And who knows, maybe one or two will be watching, although it will be a little early for them when we start our service, as it will be 5:30 in North Carolina. Now it's time for this. So it's that time for our birthday announcements for this week, and actually today Sarah Murphy and Margaret Stone celebrate their birthdays, so a very happy birthday to Sarah and Margaret, whatever you're doing today. And coming up on the 31st, towards the end of the month, it will be Brenda Gibb and Mike Prince's birthday. So a very happy birthday for them in advance for next weekend. Also on the 30th, again next weekend, Sandra, or Sandy as she's known, and Alan Burden are celebrating their golden wedding anniversary. So we hope they have a very happy time on the 30th of May. Of course, if you're celebrating a birthday in the week ahead, or a special anniversary, or something else special is happening, please let us know so that we can share this with everybody else in next week's programme. We're now going to hear from Janet again, following on her theme of wartime memories that she's covered for the last couple of weeks. Her report this week tells us about Peggy Brown, who is Julia Moore's mum.
Hello again. Today we're going to find out about Peggy Brown's wartime memories. Peggy Brown is Julia Moore's mother, so first she is going to tell us a bit about her.
Hi, my mum Peggy Brown lived in Weymouth and Wyke for about 60 years, so I'm sure quite a few people will have some memories of her. She was very involved with Wyke Regis WI and the Singers particularly, but was also secretary for quite a few years. And she also sang with Weymouth Choral Society for quite a long time, so there may be some memories there.
Here's Peggy with her family. War was declared just after her 9th birthday. It had been brewing for some time. She didn't know much about war, so she asked the older children to explain. They spoke of the horrors of killing and suffering, but with a trace of excitement in their voices. One day she asked someone if it would be wicked to wish for one day of war to see what it was like, and was swiftly turned on and put firmly in her place. The announcement came on the radio. At that time, they were living in Hope Street. When there was a night air raid, they went to shelter in the brewery cellar in Hope Square. As soon as the siren sounded, they got warm clothes, a bag with vacuum flask and sandwiches, and a small case with important documents in. Then they would hurry down the pitch-black street to the haven of the cellar. They all had their own pitch, with chairs, games, and a bed for Peggy. There was a lot of bombing in Weymouth, and Peggy can remember that one of her friends was killed. At that time, she went to Holy Trinity School in Chapelhay. She remembered well the night in 1940 when it was hit, crouching down with her hands over her ears to shut out the noise of the bombs. When the raid was over, Chapelhay was a scene of devastation. The school had vanished. After this, they used a room in Sydney Hall as a school, and then moved to what became the Arts Centre. She remembers how the beaches were closed, and barbed wire and iron defences erected. Peggy didn't think much of this, as she was a keen swimmer, so she used to go over the wall on the quay and swim in the harbour, much to the amusement of the crews on various ships. It was against the law, but she never got caught. When the forces were gathering for the invasion on D-Day, this part of the harbour was cordoned off. It became so thick with craft that you could have walked from one side of the harbour to the other on them. We're very lucky to have Peggy's wartime memories in 2 books. So if you want to know more, you're very welcome to borrow them. But that's all for today. Goodbye.
Thank you, Janet, for another interesting report. And I know in particular I enjoyed looking at some of the photos of wartime and wartime Weymouth, especially the one with the soldiers walking along the seafront. And of course, I don't remember back that far. I wasn't around in the war, but I was interested to see the Sydney Hall, which I do very much remember from my childhood. So thank you very much for sharing Peggy's memories with us. One of the things I particularly enjoyed in recent weeks is talking to different people from the parish and hearing what they've been up to or what they do get up to. And one such conversation a couple of weeks ago was with Frank Tuff. And Frank said he'd like to do a report on Ceilidh and Scottish country dancing, something that he's very much interested in. And he was telling me how Ceilidh dancing could be used as a simple way of getting some exercise, particularly at home whilst we're in lockdown. So Frank's been putting a report together for us, and we're going to hear from Frank now.
Hello from Marilyn and Frank.
Hello.
During the lockdown, to keep fit, we've been trying to practice our Scottish country dancing. We normally do Ceilidh dancing Monday nights at the Willowbed Hall at Chickerell. As we do Ceilidh dancing and Scottish country dancing, the Ceilidh dances are probably the best to dance at home, because they are originally the dances you do in someone's home, which the word Ceilidh is Gaelic for gathering of friends in the house, so you've not got a lot of space, so it's ideal to do Ceilidh dances. And the following video clip hopefully will give you an idea and a taste of the dancing we do, like the Virginia Reel, Canadian Barn Dance, Britannia Two-Step. This is preferable to, say, the Scottish country dances, where you need a set of usually 8 people and a lot more space. So I hope you enjoy the following video clip.
So thank you, Frank and Marion, for sharing that with us. I'm sure you're all jumping up and down in your seats watching that. And the really nice thing, I thought, was that to see the mix of the young and old there dancing together and having some fun. And my particular favourite was the violin playing. I'm a great lover of the violin when it's played well. So, Frank, thank you very much for sharing that with us today. It's been a very busy week for me the last week, and I've taken quite a few interesting calls from the diocesan communications officers and from a publication called The Parish Pump that goes out to all churches throughout the country and spreads stories and news for parishes to use in their publications. Both of them have been very interested in what we are doing here in Wyke in terms of our online services, our quizzes, and of course this, our weekly news report, and how we are rising to the challenge of the situation we found ourselves in and communicating with our parish, other people who don't normally come to church, and people wider afield. So later this weekend, I've got the chore, or the pleasure, whichever way you look at it, of writing 2 articles that will go up to Salisbury and up to national publications to spread some good news of what we're doing here in Wyke, and with the hope to inspire some other parishes to have a go and do something similar. Of course, I will be offering to help any that are struggling in this way to see if I can point them in the right direction as well. I suspect you won't be surprised to hear that both myself and other people that are putting together this media to go out, people like Janet, Brother Ali, Frank, Jeff Rivers, and anybody that's doing any of the work, spends an incredible amount of hours each week trying to put these things together to put out. The news show might only take 30 minutes to go out, but it takes hours and hours and hours to get the material together, to edit it, and to present it in a format to go out. However, I have to say personally, it's a real pleasure for many reasons to do this. 1, it's keeping me busy. 2, I'm learning new skills that without this challenge I wouldn't have learnt. I'm talking to lots of people. And most importantly, the fantastic and amazing comments that are coming back from you, the people that are watching and hopefully being thankful for what we're doing. And it's really those comments that inspire me to do this and make it all worthwhile. So thank you all for that. It's now time to go back to Jeff Rivers for the second part of his report on how the pews got from the ground floor of the church up into the bell ringing chamber where the ringers wanted them. So let's see how it was done.
We contacted the fire station and the White Watch came to the church to perform a recce to see what they could do. There was really 2 options, and the first was to physically lift the pews via their telescopic ladder from the pavement in Portland Road onto the church roof above the nave, carry the pews along the roof, then through the little door into the bell room. The main problem with this is that the whole of Portland Road would have needed to have been closed for the duration of this operation, so there had to be a plan B. The plan B was to lift the pews through the trapdoor in the floor of the bell room. The only problem was that there was nothing in the bell room to attach lifting gear, so the firemen had to bring all the equipment and get that into the bell room before they could start with the lift. The firemen had a large tripod which they lifted up into the bell room.
Yeah, straight, good. What's that, mate? Not coming up. You're 2 feet off that knot.
Then they had to decide how to put some lifting attachments to the pews. They were frightened that if they just attached the ropes to one end, the end might come adrift while it was halfway up in the air. When everything was secure, they were ready to go, and the lift was about to begin.
The light coming through the window doesn't help, does it?
Tony and I made sure that Claire and Michael Dillistone were there during the whole operation. If anything had gone wrong, we would have made sure the bell ringers got the blame, but everything went as smooth as pie. The firemen were so professional, you would think that they lifted pews up church towers every day of the week. So that was the story of two pews and the firemen, of how we got the pews up into the bell room. I hope you found it interesting. And just one other little piece of news I think I should tell you, that if anybody else gets asked to replace the floor in years to come, say in 50 years, 100 years time, we have left a little surprise under the floorboards. So until the next little talk, stay safe, keep well, keep smiling. Bye. We contacted the fire station.
Brilliant. Thank you, Jeff, for that report, and let us know how the pews got up into the tower. And I guess we'll have to wait around and see actually what went into the time capsule that's gone under the floor in All Saints Church, if any of us are still around then. Of course, it's great to get these reports from people like Jeff and Janet and Frank. And if you would like to contribute with a report for next week or for future weeks, please do get in touch. Now, that doesn't mean to say that you need to go into full video production mode. If you can, that's brilliant. If you just want to give a verbal report over the telephone, we can record it and include it. That's good too. If you want to do a video report and you haven't got the equipment, we can arrange to video you. Just come up with the idea. We'd love to hear from you. We'd love to hear your stories and share them with everybody. Get in touch and we'll make it happen. Even if it's just an idea and you don't want to be involved yourself. My details are on the screen there. You can contact me at any time. So it just leaves me, as we get to the end of the programme today, to remind you of a few things. One, that our newsletter's gone out, so please do look at that. Remember, the links are in it for our services, particularly the link to YouTube if you haven't found it yet, and you'll find that much easier to use than if you're struggling with Facebook. To remind you that our quiz is on as usual at 7:30 this evening. We hope that you will join us then. It's got a very good following each week now, the quiz, and again it's very enjoyable to see people coming together and joining in, and that gives me great pleasure doing that each week. Also, I've been asked to let you know that the Friends of All Saints, FASA, are organising a quiz at 6:30 on the 11th of June. And if anybody's interested in joining that quiz with the members of FASA and some of the parents from All Saints School, they've opened up the invitation to Wyke Parish, All Saints Church and St Edmund's Church members. So if you'd like to join in with that, do let me know, and I'll let you have the information, and I'll put it in the future newsletter next week. Tomorrow our Sunday service is at 9:30. And we'd like to see some of you then, of course, if you'd like to join us. But if not, I look forward to being with you again, this time 6 o'clock next Saturday for our next news report. Thanks very much, and good night.